Welcome into the DePaud, a DePaul Hoops podcast brought to you by 199.com. Basketball historians bringing history to life with retro DePaul basketball gear to make you feel like Aguirre in 1979. Go check them out today at 199.com and pick up some of that retro DePaul basketball gear featuring Billy Blue Demon on it at 199.com. We are 78 days away from the opening game of your DePaul basketball team. And today's episode, we've got the legendary Women's Basketball Hall of Fame head coach, Doug Bruno. And we sit down with him for a little while and talk about the offseason, how it's been going, as well as going into the season, what's ahead. We also sit down with the new DePaul Athletics partner, TalkWallker. Matt Berry from TalkWallker had a good conversation there. Talked a little bit about what they're doing and what they're going to bring to the table for DePaul Athletics. Before we get into that, please go like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, Twitter, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're listening to us on Spotify. With that said, let's get into the show. Welcome into the DePaud, a DePaul Hoops podcast brought to you by 199.com. I have a great show for you today. I have Doug Bruno, the Hall of Fame women's head basketball coach of your DePaul Blue Demons. I sat down with him and talked to him about his induction into the Hall of Fame a little bit, as well as his goals for the team and how he sets goals for his teams for this year. I also got to sit down with Matt Berry from TalkWallker, one of the new partners of the DePaul Athletic Department, and we sat down and talked a little bit about what they do and what they're going to provide to the athletic department as far as fan engagement goes and things that we also get into like NIL and a little bit of other nuanced information and data sets. So. Interesting conversation there. Looking forward to getting that out here and you all listening to that. But in the meantime, we are 78 days away from the start of men's basketball season. So very excited to get inch ever so closer to the basketball season. And I did have the opportunity to go to the season ticket holder event that they held for men's and women's basketball season ticket holders. There's a lot of buzz around that. It was at the V Collective Penthouse in Chicago. Great view of the skyline. There was a lot of great people there. Some real cool fans that have been fans forever. And of course Dwayne, and there was a handful of players there: Mo Gibson, Nick Ongenda, Jalen Terry. There was also Errol Penn and Javon Johnson, all there. So it was a really nice night, but also just a lot of excitement around the program. So thank you to Dwayne and Taylor for allowing me to be a part of that. That said, let's get into our first guest. Welcome in Doug Bruno. Enjoy. All right, we welcome in today legendary Coach Doug Bruno, Hall of Fame, Women's Basketball Hall of Famer, and coach of your DePaul Blue Demons. Welcome in, Coach. How has the offseason been for you so far?
This is the life we choose, John. We love to recruit, so we've been out running around trying to find players. That's what we do. Yeah,
no, I've heard you've been busy, and well, let's talk. Let's jump in and talk a little bit about your latest addition to your title, Women's Basketball Hall of Fame head coach. What does that mean to you?
First of all, I'm honored. I'm humbled to have been inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, but I'm still an active coach. I'm still working. So I think I will appreciate that honor more when I'm done playing or coaching. But right now, you just don't have time to overly reflect about it. It's always about the people. You don't earn your way into any Hall of Fame or receive any accolade in coaching without having great bosses. Dwayne Peavy has just been a great athletic director. Gene Lenti-Ponsetto through the years, another great athletic director. I've been blessed with great athletic directors, great bosses. great assistant coaches. Jill Pizzotti right now is my associate women's head coach. Lisa Rakebush has been with me for years. Candace Blankson. So we've had great assistants, and most of all, we've had great players through the years. Very special people that have committed to what DePaul is all about, both as an institution and as a basketball program. So I've been blessed to have all three ingredients necessary for success in coaching: great bosses, great assistants, and great players.
I've been lucky enough to watch over the past 15 years or so, and been blessed to be a part of some of those tournament runs as well. So definitely, I know you've got more to your story to write still. So we won't linger too much on the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame induction, but over the 36 years and over 700 wins, though. I know it'll be hard to nail down one experience so far, but what are some of the most memorable experiences you've had as a head coach?
I really just enjoy watching a young woman grow from 18-year-olds to 22-year-olds. And we tell them all the time when they're playing for us, we're not going to be your friends when you're playing for us. We're going to be your teachers. You're going to be our pupils. And that's the coach, player, teacher, pupil relationship. But once you graduate, we want to be your friends for life. We want to be friends after you graduate, not while you're playing. So when you ask me what are the most memorable experiences, it's probably every single time you run into one of your former players and have an opportunity to interact with them. I mean, that's really the most enjoyable parts of your life. There's wins, there's great wins, there's tough losses, and there's great seasons and tough seasons, and some seasons that are really great seasons even though you didn't win that much. And then there's some seasons where you won a lot of games, but they really weren't that great a season because the interactions among the team wasn't that constructive or positive. So basically, when you ask what are the most memorable experiences, it's really running into any of these players after they've graduated and being able to have a drink with them or just sit and chat with them and talk about how their lives are moving.
Yeah, and to that point, you've got Capri Smith going over to UIC now, and Sam Quigley-Smith over at SIU Edwardsville, and of course, Allie Quigley just coming off of that WNBA championship and one of the most prolific three-point shooters in all of WNBA history. You could hear it in your voice. I mean, how much pride you have in that, but how big is that for you to even more so to see them succeed at such high levels?
They all make you proud. They really do. I mean, just the other day, sitting in a Sky game, I'm sitting next to Megan Putko, and then I realized that Caprice was right behind me, and then over to the right side of me, Sarah Kustak's doing the game on television. So, and then you got Allie out on the floor playing ball. It's just, and then after the game, a couple of players, Sue Wellens and LaTanya Williams, come up after the game and say hi. So, that's just, you're filled with pride for each of their achievements and their accomplishments.
Yeah, and so shifting gears to this year and these players that you have on your roster this year, you're adding in Jade Edwards and Anaya Peoples into the mix with Anissa Morrow. How do you see this team melding together and becoming a cohesive unit?
It's early, but at the same time, with the limited practice, we've had our opportunity to view this new team. Anissa. Anissa's going to have to come back, and I'm confident she will, with the same passion and motor that she brought to her mindset a year ago. She came in here as a freshman with a great mindset of proving to the world how great she was going to be. Now she's got to expand upon that, and as a sophomore, people are going to know more about her and be more ready for her. So, but I still think Anissa's going to have a great year. Darian Rogers returns, and Darian's had 2 good years of getting herself ready to have a couple great junior and great senior year. She's so much better than people realize. She's just a really special player as well. So then Kira Collier comes back, and Kira has been she's in her 6th year now, having played at 2 other schools, but now she's starting to settle into what the DePaul program is all about. So then you add Anaya Peoples to the mix, and you add Jade Edwards. And these aren't, everybody talks about the transfer portal. What the portal has done is streamlined for athletes, for players, the ability to tell schools they're going to leave. They don't have to go through near the red tape. They just have to announce to the compliance officer, the coach, they're leaving. And the portal does the administrative work for them. What has changed is the ability to play immediately. That not having to sit a year out. That is what's really changed the transfer situation. And for short, everybody's calling it the transfer portal. Well, it's the fact that the players can play immediately that is really changing what's going on in college hoops. Fortunately for us, Anea Peoples and Jade Edwards are two players that we recruited long and hard when they were in high school. All right, Anea is from downstate Danville Schlarman High School, and we actually probably offered her in 8th grade or so, freshman year. And then she chose to go to Notre Dame, and now she's going to come back to DePaul. And Jade is a young player from the Latin school right down the street from DePaul, not a mile away from us. And she went to the American University in Washington, D.C., was a All-Patriot League player, and just, she's coming back for her 5th year now. So Jade is also a local Chicago girl that played summer ball with our team in our gym as she was working her way through her time at American. So they're not just transfers, they're transfers that we've known and have a previous relationship with. So they're going to bring a great ability to the program, but they're also going to bring, they're just not random people out there. And then, you still have some very quality people returning. Kiki Rimmer's returning from Proviso East High School, and Kendall Holmes is, coming back from Bennett Academy, and she's starting to hit a stride, a very, very talented player. So, you've got 7 returning players that are all really, really capable. And then you've got the newcomers that's coming in as well. And those newcomers, are the 2 transfers, but we also have 5 freshmen.
Yeah, and you said it there. I mean, you've got people that you've already talented athletes that you've been recruiting or you had been recruiting previously, and they already fit your mold and fit your system, I should say. So how do you see this year's team progressing and building off of returning back to the NCAA tournament last year, just off of a one year hiatus kind of deal? How do you see this team progressing and taking that next step?
Well, I just think we've had a couple of rough years. I mean, COVID was not good to us, and it's hard to, as a coach, want to use excuse. You don't want to have excuses, so you don't want to use COVID as an excuse. Everybody had to deal with COVID. At the same time, these were 2 of our most, I thought, subpar years the last couple of years. Even though a year ago we won 22 games, went to the NCAA tournament, but we got whacked upside the head in our first game. And so, I just think that the page has been turned, and I see our team returning to DePaul ball in this sense, John. What is DePaul ball? Well, DePaul ball is a fast-paced game, yes, but at the essence of all basketball is sharing, is teamwork. And no great team is great without sharing and being a team. And I just think this team is really looking to share the ball a lot. I just see the natural wanting to share the ball. We were second in the nation in total assists a year ago. However, I think our last couple teams, last 2 years, we shared the ball because we had to. We didn't share the ball because it was what was the right basketball move to make. And I think we're returning to that. That's what DePaul ball is all about. Not just high-octane scoring, not just shooting threes. We shoot threes to open up the court to get to the rim via drive or post-ups. So sometimes people think DePaul ball is just letting the threes fly or high scoring. Yes, we want to put pressure on our opponent by scoring the ball. But again, it's got a lot more to it than just letting the threes fly. I think we're sharing the ball a lot better. Another player I didn't mention too, Tori Allen, started for us 2 years ago and missed all last season because of an injury. So, you get Jory back here too. That's like another starter back. I talked about Darian and Anissa, but we have to remember here, Jory was a starter the year before last. So you kind of have 3 starters back. And Kiara Collier was a starter in my mind a year ago. She was really, she was banged up and had some injury issues, but when she was on the floor, she was really, really good. So that's 4 returners coming back. And then, like I said, there's the Kendall Holmes of the world, the Kiki Rivers of the world. There's some other players here that have been around for a while with experience that can play some ball.
Yeah, and I do know from my experience from watching a lot of your teams, you were talking about moving the ball around and making that extra pass. I remember Missy Mitadero and Allie Quigley and Capri Smith with Felicia Chester, all of those players playing off of each other, and I feel like this team could have some of that cohesiveness and some of that chemistry as that team did from that season back in like 08, 09. So really exciting stuff around the corner for you all, and I know a lot of people are clamoring for this team to do well and make a deep run, hopefully. So that said, what are your goals this year for this team?
Well, John, I always let the players set their goals. I mean, I really try not to impose our coaching goals on our players, because what are the coaches' goals? I mean, they're pretty much the same. We want to run a program here of high integrity and high character. So our coaches' goals always include making sure that we're going to class, making sure that we're excelling in the classroom, not just going to class and graduating, but actually excelling in the classroom. Our program's about service. Our players are constantly out there in the community doing service work, and yet from a basketball perspective, we want to win the Big East. We want to get to the NCAA tournament. You mentioned deep run into the NCAA tournament. As many tournaments as we've been to, and we've been to 25 in my time here, we still want to get deeper into that tournament. So these are always coaches' goals, but the players have to come together as a group, and they've got to decide what they want to do. And it always becomes important for the players to set their goals, and we're really not at that point yet. It's still too early. I let them get some feel for each other and get themselves acclimated before we start getting into our serious discussions about, okay, what do you think you can do? What do you think you want to do? What price are you willing to pay? Those things they're around the corner, but we just haven't really gotten there yet. But the coaches' goals are pretty straightforward.
Well, I could speak for the entire DePaul Blue Demon fan base here. We're really excited to see where this year takes everyone and how the team progresses. So with that said, thank you very much, Coach, and hopefully we could get out to Kelly's for a beer later this season.
I was just asked what are my 2 favorite places on campus, and I responded quickly, instinctively, naturally, St. Vincent de Paul Church and Kelly's Pub, because they are the heart and soul of our campus.
One of my favorite memories it was when I was working at the athletic department there was going after a game with you and Gino to Kelly's and having a beer with two legends of women's basketball sitting right there in Lincoln Park. So it was a great time, and definitely understand your love for that place.
Well, again, I mentioned St. Vincent's Church first.
Oh, of course,
John.
right. I should have.
Sure, that's right. Okay, it's a beautiful church.
It really is.
And again, all churches are about the people. It's a great parish too.
No, well, thanks again, Coach, and it's a lot of fun, and looking forward to linking back up with you this season.
Thanks, John.
Really great stuff from Doug there. I'm very grateful to have gotten to sit down with him a couple weeks ago and talk with him about what he's doing and what his goals are for the team. With that said, let's jump right into our talk with Matt Berry from TalkWallker. All right, we welcome in today Matt Berry from TalkWallker. TalkWalker and DePaul Athletics just announced a new partnership a couple weeks back, and thought it'd be a good opportunity to have him in and tell us fans what they do and what they're going to provide for DePaul and their athletics department. So, welcome in, Matt. Thanks for taking the time today.
Well, John, thank you. I'm more than excited to talk with you guys and just explain a bit more about what we do and then how we can really help the whole DePaul fan experience here.
Awesome. Yeah. And so to that point, I know that you all had a first foray into sports and athletics with European football. What how's that different, or how is getting into the collegiate athletics world different from that?
Yeah, well, I think really to take a big picture view in all of that, I think it could be wise to just start off on what TalkWalker is all about and then why we are getting into sports. So, first of all, you are right with the European soccer side, but really what TalkWalker is a consumer tech company where we've mostly worked with ad agencies and larger companies to just understand what fans are discussing about them. So we're mostly known in the consumer product good world, ad agencies, fintech, pharma, so more B2B, as we would say. And then in the last couple of years, since I've joined in the last 3 years, really, we've wanted to do more in the media, sport, and entertainment realm. I joined the company as an intern and I saw an opportunity to really expand more into this space. So we've slowly started to build it out over time with an incredible group of people. In the last year, we've really ramped it up by recognizing media, sports, and entertainment as a vertical. So while we have those European soccer clubs on the side, we're also going to be doing a lot with the pro teams, the media side, and like you said, collegiate athletics, where myself, as well as a great group of people, including Tim Stevens, who was of influencer fame, is with the team now. And we're really just showcasing how we can use this industry leading technology that companies like McDonald's and US Bank use for high level use cases that tend to involve millions of dollars and impact and how their customers consume that information into that lower level of how do DePaul fans respond to it? How do Louisville, who is our first partner in the collegiate space, respond to this as well? And all the other clients there. And I see a bit of a grimace there on
Yeah,
the
yeah. We
Louisville
don't like to
side.
talk about Louisville in the DePaul world. There's some bad blood. They canceled on us. They were a little scared of Stubblefield. So uh, it is what it is. But yeah, sounds great. No, it's, to touch on that fan and alumni engagement aspect of things. What what do you all look for? How's that connection made?
Yeah. So one such example that we use a lot, and I'll try not to get too technical and too nerdy on everyone just because I'm in it all day. One of the things that we would do when it comes to fan and alumni engagement is we would first look into what people write in their Twitter bios. So, for example, my Twitter bio, I not only list TalkWalker, I list my position as a consultant for the MSE or Media, Sport, and Entertainment vertical. And I also list, I talk about athlete branding, name, image, and likeness, all sorts of things. If I'm to tell the platform I want to pull in people that include NIL in their author bio, then it would pull it into the platform and just show you a list of all those people that are discussing NIL or anything else that's listed in the author. So in the case of DePaul, we could get really granular and break it down by specific schools, specific years that you graduated, or we could just do it by DePaul fan, DePaul soccer fan, DePaul basketball fan, any hashtags there, and really get an idea of what the Twitter world or what DePaul Twitter is really saying.
Cool. No, and so for instance, let's look at mine. I've got on my personal one, it says former Blue Demon or Chicago Fire mascot and not affiliated with DePaul. So that might muddle the waters a little bit, but maybe I have to start looking at that and adding a little bit more description there. So um,
Well, that's a good one to start with because if, for example, we've had universities say, I want to find someone in the music space because we have student athletes that are interested in potentially learning more about the music space or doing NIL deals there. That's one such example. Or in your case with DePaul or the Chicago Fire, say I want to do an outreach campaign to our fans. and only look for those fans that are super engaged with us, constantly talking about us, making content for us constantly. The fact that you'd have DePaul or Chicago Fire in that bio, and we can look into engagement, which is essentially how many times are you talking about us, retweeting us, liking our tweets. That's something that an athletic department or a team can use right now just to identify who their key fans are and who they should potentially keep an eye on.
Very cool. Yeah, and the other thing too, I know in the press release there was talk of fan experience as well. So how does taking some of that information from engagement, from fan and alumni engagement, go into shaping that fan experience?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that we can take this. So the most obvious one is the game day experience. So people actually going to, like, say, Wintrust Arena and taking parts in the concessions or talking about the actual game experience. What we've done in the past is, say, filter out for mentions of, say, concessions or Wi-Fi or retail. So then that way, if, say, there's a shirt that people really like that just sold out, we could get that refilled. If there's something going on with Wi-Fi, we can try and get that fixed. So it's really keeping a pulse on what fans are saying at that actual game experience and how we can improve
Or if
it.
there's a want for a hot dog eating contest at a halftime, get that on the docket.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or to use my own experience, because I'm a UConn grad, I worked a ton with the athletic department when I was in my undergrad career, and I'm firmly entrenched in UConn Twitter. There was the whole hot sauce challenge that happened a year ago, or just random little debates that pop up every now and again. And I saw what DePaul Twitter does, and I see how nuts and crazy you guys get sometimes. That's a way to see, for an athletic department, okay, I see this hot sauce challenge trending, or I see a lot of buzz around Steubenfield trending. How can we potentially understand how fans are talking about this and maybe spin this into a piece of content or ways that we can engage with it down the line? So in one part, it's understanding how fans are speaking, but in another part, if this is cool and if it's unique, how can we potentially hop into this and make it our own?
Got it. Cool. No, that sounds fun and also maybe a little dangerous with how crazy some of the guys on Twitter get. So it's a little unnerving knowing that it's being watched to that degree, but also kind of fun. So very cool. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've talked about, DePaul did have a hot dog eating contest last year at I forget which game, but one of the guys who one of the track athletes actually was involved in that and won it, and it's something that they're bringing back as far as we could tell this year. So good stuff there, and sounds like fun. As far as social media strategy goes, how does that all get shaped by all these different data points that you all bring in, and what does that look like from your side of things?
Yeah, so for that, we can actually get super granular with this. And I remember the first time I saw it as an undergrad student at UConn, it blew my mind just how deep you can get with this. One of the things that I always talk to a lot is you can look at specific channels and see what kinds of content are performing the best. So if it's a video series, if it's pictures, if it's links, you could be posting a lot of those. But if there's a certain type that performs better, that gives you an idea of, okay, maybe we need to shift to that. And then you can get into a whole conversation regarding sponsored content and how you can really maximize that. But that's for another day and time. And then the one that I always talk about the most is the time of posting. So we can actually figure out, this is the time you tend to post the most. So for example, if I tend to post any piece of content at 1:15 on a Wednesday, and then I can see when our audience engages with it the most, and they actually say engage with it at Thursday at 5 p.m. That gives us an idea of, okay, we need to post around this time. So then this way we're hitting when fans are talking with us, but we're also maximizing our engagement.
Got it. No, that's awesome, and it's really kind of crazy how granular you guys can get with this. And what's the end game? What's the end goal with the partnership with DePaul? What's your goals? Well, as much as you guys could get into talking about the goals of this partnership, what's the generic goals of this partnership?
So generic goals really are just not only to help the athletic department grow in terms of digital strategy and digital maturity overall, but also to make it a more fan-centric department. Dwayne Peavy said this a lot since he's joined the department about how he wants to make it fan-first and how he really wants to put it on top of the athletic departments in the country. And we think this is a sound investment to doing that because, like we've talked about already, it's really about hearing what your fans have to say and then responding to it and tailoring your experience to that fan base as well. So in terms of what we want to do with this partnership, we want to not only help DePaul grow and make it a more fan-friendly department, but also as well from our end, when it comes to all these athletic departments that we've partnered with and could partner with down the line, it's not only making them digitally savvy like those companies and agencies that we've referenced before, but it's also making them fan-centric and also, in another sense, helping them when it comes to NIL as well. If they choose to do that NIL side, we can not only help with the general social side when it comes to the management of the athletic department and social channel performance, but it's about helping those fans and those athletes. So then that way we're keeping them in mind with the overall mission of the partnership.
Yeah, and you talk about NIL. We saw today Ahmad Bynum and Anaya Peoples. They announced a partnership with the Chicago White Sox of all things. So how does that NIL? I know that you can't get into too much, but how does that NIL partnership work with you all?
So for us, we're not going to be facilitating the deals. We're not going to be creating content around the deals. We're going to be doing more of the tracking. So for example, if we are to take a search around DePaul men's basketball, DePaul women's basketball, we'd be able to break out and see which players are getting the most mentions, but also see how their deals are performing on social media as well, just in terms of engagement, retweets, and likes. And that's to go back to that previous example we were just discussing, where on top of making that department digitally savvy and digitally mature, it's at the end of the day making sure that the experience for the fans and the experience for the athletes is top notch.
Very cool. No, all exciting stuff, and I think we're all excited to see some of this interaction get put into play with the athletic department. I know there's a lot of excitement around Dwayne Peavy and what he's doing. One of the things already that we've seen is there's a season ticket holder event that they had last week, and that was really successful as far as hearing the fans and listening to them. So really cool stuff, and really excited to see how TalkWallker and the partnership with DePaul Athletics gets moving forward. And with that said, thanks a lot, Matt. I appreciate your time, and really interesting stuff. And we'll talk soon.
All right, thank you, John. Best of luck.
Thanks to Matt from TalkWallker for taking the time and sitting down with me to talk a little bit about what they're doing and what they're going to bring to the table for the athletic department. Exciting stuff there. 78 days away. Feels like the home stretch, but there's still a lot of time until November 7th when DePaul kicks it off against Loyola, Maryland. The schedule has been released as far as the non-conference goes. So definitely you got to interact and engage with me a little bit online with how you feel about the non-conference schedule. That said, there's a lot of excitement around this program, I feel, and I'm looking forward to bringing more and more content as we inch ever so much closer to the season. I've been in talks with some people in the athletic department about getting some more content out. So definitely look forward to that. I'm excited to be able to provide this to all of us, really, to give us some sort of different medium than just online chatter. So by all means, shoot me DMs, tell me what you want to see, tell me what you want to hear about, and I will do whatever I can to bring that all to you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on all the different social channels. And until next time, Blue Demon Nation, go Blue Demons.